Hello, friends, and welcome to the third episode of the Squad Pod. I am Maddox Jr., and this week we will be discussing Ring of Elysium, Payday, and a few other games. Hot dropping into the podcast this week, we have the international man of mystery, who is far too chilled to rage, Bone Jangles. How you doing, Bone Jangles?
I'm doing great, Matt. Great intro, man. Good to be here.
Oh, thanks. Next up, we have the squad member who will shove you in his backpack and drag you to victory, Kevin Asex.
Oh, I was like, where's this going? Is this me or is it not me? What's up, everyone?
Okay. Okay, Kevin. Great. Good to know. Next, we have the Lone Star Legend and White Claw Wizard, Washburn. Sup, dude?
Sup, dudes? Good to be here.
And finally, rounding out the squad for this week, live from Lake Tahoe, the esports commentator and professional hype man, Snowbike Mike.
Maddox Jr., you are killing the intros. I love it. I love every time we do the intros as well. Kevin just pretends like he's not part of this podcast. He's like, we're making him mad that he's got to be joining us.
Look, all right, I'm doing, some technical stuff here and there. I'm trying to pay attention. Everything goes well, like not like last time. All right, so it's hard.
Like,
right.
Wait, you're talking about me? All right. And we're going to start a discussion this week with what we've been playing. Bone Jangles, I believe you've been playing a little bit of NHL. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yes, sir. About a couple weeks ago, I want to say probably 2 weeks ago, Xbox Live was throwing a sale on NHL 20. I bought it for $15. Now, I'm a casual NHL player. I only go in there for the Be a Pro mode and the franchise mode. So I'm not really going into the online World of Chell type stuff or I forgot what they call I think it's Hockey Ultimate Team, like the cards like you do in like FIFA and stuff. But yeah, I'm working through my season right now. I started with a Be a Pro mode. What I did this time, usually I just go straight to a team. I'll pick a team to draft me. But this time I started in the CHL. So I started a whole new player. My stats are super low when you start in the CHL. I believe I was at like 50 across the board for my stats. Really awful. My player feels super slow. Shots are real bad. Passing's real bad. But I finished out a full season on the CHL and then got drafted number 1 overall. So I did pretty good throughout the season. I think I got like 50 points, which is pretty good. But I got drafted by the Washington Capitals. So I've been playing a whole full season on the Capitals. Right now we are on round 3 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I believe we're playing we just played the Hurricanes. We're playing Tampa Bay Lightning right now for the 3rd round. So I'll be finishing that up tonight. I've also finished Maneater. I finally finished Maneater. Nice. I've been slowly picking away at that. Took me about 14 hours. I was going super slow, not like you, Mike, how you were going like 100% in everything. I have not 100% in everything yet. The last couple areas I started to like actually start looking around, so that took a couple hours off my playtime. But really enjoyed Maneater. I'm hoping there's more games like that coming out soon. I saw a trailer for a werewolf game where you're a werewolf, and that looks pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of Maneater, but it's more actiony. But yeah, those are the games I've been playing this week.
If there was one animal you could choose to be the Man-Eater sequel, what would it be, Bone Jangles?
A Velociraptor.
Ooh, I like that. Ooh. That would be fun. That would be a mix up.
Yeah, any type of dinosaur, really.
Can we all answer this? Round it around the table because I want to hear everybody else's.
Chinchilla.
God, I hate you always ruin it, Kevin.
What's a chinchilla? I don't know what a chinchilla is.
Nice chill animal.
Kevin just wants to be adopted at PetSmart to some loving family, and that's how the video game goes the whole time.
Yeah.
15 hours of being fed by Becky in her nice little cage. That's all.
Sure. What do you got, Mike?
I'm gonna go with the lion. I want to be out there in the savannah, maybe a little bit of jungle area, and I just want to run around mauling tourists in safari vehicles, eating cheetahs, eating antelope. I think that would be the next best move, is to become a lion.
Okay. How about you, Washburn?
It's similar. I was going to go with tiger. But instead of like, in the savannah, dive deep into that sort of jungle atmosphere. I think that would be dope.
Okay, here's my pitch. Gorilla, you start out in the zoo and you break out and you have to take a ship across the ocean back to where you belong, and you just are ripping people limb for limb.
Yeah.
Isn't that Ape Out?
I was going to say, I think there's a game for you. It's called Ape Out. I think you're
I
going to
have
love
played
this
that
game.
a little bit. I like that one. That one's
I
a
like
good one.
that.
So I just looked up what a chinchilla is.
Yeah, you don't want to be a chinchilla, Kevin.
I'm sticking to it.
Kevin?
I'm sticking to it.
All right.
It'll be great. I don't know.
Let's take a moment really quick. So NHL, Boney,
Yes.
I am I wouldn't say I'm a big hockey fan. I grew up with hockey in my life. I really enjoy all sports games, as you guys know, but every podcast I'm on, I always give kudos to NHL for having an incredible tutorial mode. I know in 2019, they had an awesome one. They teamed up with, I believe, the Canadian Hockey League, where it was actually like video tutorials of real hockey players doing the move. And then you went in there because they've updated it so much with the new, we'll call that the control and like the sticks, the stick. That sounds kind of weird, but you know what I'm talking about, of like the hockey stick is controlled with one of your stick, the pro stick, I believe it's what they call it. The skill stick. And it's just incredible to see that tutorial mode. Do they still have that?
So when I fired the game up, it did. I think last year in 2019, when you fire the game up, it brings you right to it. This time, it did not do that. There is a practice mode though. Like there is a option to visit practice mode. I'm pretty sure that's in there still though. You shoot for the targets, shooting for the targets and the goals.
Oh,
and
yeah,
everything. I'm pretty sure that's all still there.
It also knows if you've played the last game or the previous version of it, and it will be like, this is the suggested difficulty that we have for you, which is nice as well.
Yeah, so I think
it kind of
why
skips
skipped.
that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love Be a Pro. I think they've really rounded that out. Of course, all the EA games have a really good slate of different modes you can play to get lost in. But Be a Pro in all of their games is so much fun, especially in hockey, laying the big hits. But of course, we've talked about it before. I'm a big fan of more of the arcadey type. That's why I love the World of Shell. I like the 3v3s, the 1v1s, because I think that stuff is hysterical.
Mm-hmm. I'm waiting for the year they decide to add like a story mode, like in I forgot what NFL that like
FIFA and Madden had it. Yeah, both FIFA and Madden had it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to do that. I doubt they're going to do it. They hardly even mention NHL. Like even in EA Play the other day, they didn't even bring.
Yeah, they didn't bring it up at all.
So they're not going to give that thing a story mode, but it would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
what's it like playing with the Great Eight? Does he carry you?
Oh, he carries me, baby.
The one thing that I want that they have in FIFA for NHL is there's an online mode in FIFA where you have a season, which is like a set amount of games, like 10 or so games, and you get points. So you get 0 points for a loss, 1 point for a tie, and 2 points for a win. And you like upgrade through the seasons. So like hypothetically, you're playing against better and better players, and you're matched online matchmaking against those.
Oh,
and
cool.
I wish NHL had something like that, because right now it just like match makes you and then says like, oh, this is your skill level, and that's kind of it. And it's kind of fun to like try and collect the trophies for the seasons and progress your way up the ladder and play against better and better players as you go along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said earlier, I usually don't get them on launch, the NHL games, because they really don't feel too different each year. So I'm hoping soon they'll start, revamping everything. Maybe PS5 and Xbox One X or Series X will introduce something new.
Maybe you should start with just EA talking about it.
Yeah,
right.
True.
That's true.
Yeah, it'll be like a blog post and it'll be like 2021. It has new stick handling physics, like it does every year.
Yeah, new graphics.
I feel like the only thing that changes in that game every year is how fast the game feels. Like as you're moving around the ice, and every year it like fluctuates between faster and slower.
Yeah, I remember one year the big reveal was you could see their jerseys like waving when you're skating. You could see their jerseys waving. That was like a big thing.
I mean, can you see that at all when you play?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, if you're really looking, you can notice. Yeah, even if you zoom in the you can change the camera mode I think it's dynamic low. You could really see their jersey like waving when you're
Now,
skating.
hold up, Bone Jingles. You didn't talk about the greatest addition that they added this year, and I know you love him. Snoop Dogg, D-O-double-G, is the color commentary in this game all the time. I think he's even playable in threes. You didn't bring up Snoop Dogg, Bone Jingles, and I'm not happy about that.
Well, you just said he's in the game all the time, which he literally is in the game all
Second
the
period
time.
of every single game.
Every single game, saying the same thing over and over again.
No
It is
way,
pretty cool,
really?
though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, Snoop, how'd you get into hockey? And he's like, I grew up in LA and I followed the Kings and I got really into the Kings. And you're like, okay. And then it like does the whole like conversation every single game that you play.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
It's like
because
that reminds me of 2K.
it's-
Like if you play on
Yeah.
the Celtics, you would get like Bill Simmons coming in and talking about how he's a fan of Boston sports every single game. Like every single Celtics game, you'd get that same commentary. Sounds like the same thing.
Yeah, it wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't playing like 12 games a night. But yeah, pretty much every game's the second period he pops up.
It's also
Pretty cool.
hilarious because they're just trying to sell you on buying him as like a announcer pack.
Exactly.
Which is like he's in every single game.
So he's
like I don't need him for 3 periods if I have him every second period.
Mhm.
you can buy more.
Yeah, so there's other celebrities that they were supposed to add into this game, which I was going to ask Bone Jangles. I remember when I was reading a lot of the news every single day, there was a blog post that came out from NHL and EA saying like Snoop Dogg's our first one, but we have X amount of people afterwards. Have you noticed any of that, Bone Jangles, since you've been playing it?
No, I haven't. I haven't even looked at like anything you can buy for the game either. I haven't looked at like DLC or anything.
All right. How about next week you take a look? Because I think like the Biebs is supposed to be there. There's
No.
supposed to be like another number of
Bieber?
people.
Justin
The
Bieber?
Biebs, yeah, Bieber's
No
supposed to be
way.
in there.
Yeah, I think he's a big Toronto Maple Leafs fan, is what I've heard.
He's from Canada. He loves hockey, of course.
They were roasting like one of the people at the All-Star game all weekend long about how they were friends with the Biebs.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I'll even check it out tonight.
All right, sounds good. Mike, I believe you want to talk a little bit about what you've been playing this week.
Yes, I have been playing a fun multiplayer game that I forced all of you to download thanks to Xbox Game Pass. So we'll have a little review afterwards, but I wanted to play a multiplayer game, switch it up a little bit from our normal Battle Royale sequence. So made us download Secret Neighbor, which is an offshoot game of Hello Neighbor, a single player game. And so Secret Neighbor, just the quick bio of it off the Steam page. Secret Neighbor is a multiplayer social horror game where a group of intruders try to rescue their friend from the neighbor's creepy basement. Only problem is one of the intruders is the neighbor in disguise. And so I don't know about that bio, but I do know one thing. This game was a ton of fun. It was a lot of laughable moments, a lot of panic-induced situations. And I think it was a fun little hide and seek kind of cat and mouse type of game. Sure, we never truly won against the neighbor, but to see all of my friends come together, share a fun multiplayer experience is always what I'm looking for. And I think Secret Neighbor on Xbox Game Pass, so we really didn't have to pay for it, I think really hit the mark for me. And I know all of you have some thoughts about it, but I absolutely adored this game. I thought it was really fun for the nights that we played it, all the laughs that we shared. Giving Washburn almost a heart attack was pretty great there as well. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, for me, that game it just descends into chaos so quickly. You know what I mean? Like there's a goal for the kids to complete, and we've never completed it because as soon as we step into the house, everybody runs off and nobody trusts anyone. And I think that's the hilarious part of it is just like, as soon as I see another person, I'm just like, get away from me. Like, leave me alone. You know what I mean? So it's that sort of dissension into chaos so fast that makes the game so much fun.
I think we would have gotten anywhere near as close if the crow wasn't telling you where the keys were.
No.
Like, it would take way too long to like find anything in that game if it wasn't for the hints that they gave you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's really fun. I mean, for people that don't know it, essentially, it's just a giant house that's a maze with different rooms and different doors. And there's 6 people that play in it. We all start as little kids, but one of us is the neighbor whose goal is just to capture all the kids. And in reality, the goal for the neighbor is to try to isolate people one by one because if you're all the kids together, you can kind of throw boxes at them, save your friend as they're getting grabbed and run away from him. So it's really fun to have those, dynamic moments of all the group is together. We're yelling at each other. We're laughing. We're giggling. And then sure enough, like Washburn says, of like one person will go off on their own. And that person, if you're the neighbor, will start to follow them, trap them in a room, and then you get grabbed. And everybody starts panicking of like, who was it? Who was it? And everybody is doing their best not to say who the neighbor is. And then you go back and do it again. So I really love the idea. I think, finding the keys is tough, right? Because there's that panic at the beginning of the game of who can I trust? Who can I not trust? I'm trying to shuffle through all these drawers, these cabinets that are sometimes too high to even see. Sometimes they're awkward with all the different layers of the drawers to be pulled out that you can't really see what's in it. Like Maddox said, it usually takes us till the final 90 seconds to find maybe the first 2-3 keys in the game. And I love the idea of how much fun it was just to share those moments together. It was a nice break of time away from Battle Royale. So I really enjoyed Secret Neighbor. I thought it was fun. I thought it was dumb, but it was definitely some good times together.
That clown. We can't forget about the clown and how terrifying the clown is walking around.
Peter Mack as the clown. He was unstoppable. He was just toying with us at, like most of the time.
He turned into a chair.
Yeah. I don't know how he did that, but he did.
That's one of the clown's abilities. So like they're the 2 neighbor characters, you can be just regular neighbor whose best ability, in my opinion, is he's able to turn into one of the other kids. So like if you are in a big group and the neighbor can sort of run off in a corner, switch to the neighbor, and then switch to another one of the kids, and then come back into that group, and you see 2 of the same kids, that one of them is the neighbor. And so it's just a good way to sort of sow that distrust into the group. And then the clown can turn into any like inanimate object, which is horrifying.
But he has a little mustache, right? I think.
Yeah, he has a little mustache.
That's how you can tell which one he is.
And we should say those
Terrifying.
houses are massive, right? Like there's so many rooms. Kevin was up on top of the roof at one point. I was busting through windows, jumping out the windows of like 3-story buildings at one point as well. Like it's really a big maze of a house that you can run around in, and you can get lost in. I mean, we were only playing 10-minute games and we still needed more time. Like you could probably play the 15+ minute game and still not find every single area there is in that map.
Spooky.
And so I guess to end out what I've been playing, this isn't the Xbox podcast, but we will do the Xbox Game Pass, Play, or Smash review with all of us because I know we all played it. So we can give our impressions there. For me, I want to go with Smash because it is so much fun, but I will preference this. It should be a play because you need friends, right? It's made fun knowing that there was 6 of us in a group chat laughing, enjoying each other's company for the couple hours that we played every single night. If you were to go in there solo dolo and play with the randoms, I don't think it would be as much fun because you need that teamwork, right? Eventually we break through the boundary of like, I can't trust you to like, Kevin, get next to me and help me and save me so we can figure this out together. So I think it's a play for me. It's right in the middle there of a play and a smash on my scale there because I have so much fun with it.
It's a play.
Yeah.
With friends, it's a good time and it's spooky and the controls are a little wonky sometimes, but other than that, there's not much to complain about, especially for a Game Pass game.
I think on PC, this game, not to be that guy, but I think on PC, this game would be better. Just for the ability to go and click on each individual drawer. There are a lot of times when you go up to like a dresser and there's 4 drawers and you can open each and every one. And on a controller, that can be tough trying to select which drawer you're opening. But either way, it's a play. I think with friends, this is something that's worth trying.
Kevin?
It's a play. I feel like the game would have been much better too. Like, yeah, it was on PC, but also if we just did game chat, because once we got captured, you can't hear our voices anymore. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So you'll be in like the dead zone voice chat where you just chatting with everyone else who just got captured. It's something similar to like Gary's mod on a game type Trouble in Terrorstown. which is pretty much the same premise. But yeah, you like once you die, you're just in the chat with everyone else who dies. So I think that would have been better because people would just go silent and no one would say anything. So I think that would have been fun. But yeah, like we're on Discord, so we can't do that. But it was still fun with everyone else. I'll say play.
Jingles?
I actually did not play it. So
Okay. I was wondering. I wasn't sure if you played it with us or not at some point.
Nope.
All right. Going on to our next topic. Kevin Ace X. Do you want to talk about Call of Duty Realism mode?
It's trash, dude. It's trash. I hate it, dude. I hate it.
Whoa.
No good. No fun. Man, we go from dropping high, getting bounties and going crazy to like dropping hot, but it's quiet for a long time and it's really slow paced. And I'm like, man, I thought this would have been more fun, but man, it's kind of boring. I don't know what you guys think.
For those who may not have played it, what is your explanation of what the realism mode does compared to the regular battle royale?
So realism is just no HUD, no minimap, no head markers. You still can look at the map when you bring up the big map, but you can't see nothing except for buy stations. So the contracts are there.
Contracts?
Yeah, the contracts are. They're not on the map you're looking at, but they're in the game. You just have to go find them.
Okay.
There's no. You can't see where the cars are at, the vehicles, and I think that's about it, right? I don't remember what else they don't have.
A big one for me is there's no crosshairs either.
That too, yeah, no crosshairs.
So you have to aim down sight?
Yeah, that really throws me off. There is no crosshairs. So there's no little, you can't see just a little dot with the crosshairs. So that throws my aiming off big time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't mind it too much without the crosshairs. I guess I don't pay attention too much, but yeah.
Well, in hardcore and the regular multiplayer, there's no crosshairs either, so.
Yeah, that's probably. I play that a lot too, so that's probably why I
missed
it. I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
Tough.
For me, yeah, it doesn't jive with our style of play. And I think something that makes Warzone the best battle royale right now, in my opinion, is that it's a game that is whatever you want it to be. And what we want it to be is fast paced. And so the contracts and the sort of the objectives on the map make that possible for us. And when you take all that away, it sort of turns it into, like you were saying, Kevin, it just slows it down to a level that's not as nearly as much fun for me personally.
Yeah, because you have to take everything like seriously, and you gotta like make sure you're not running around like crazy like we usually do. You gotta like sneak around, figure out if there's anyone near you, if you want to go look for a contract, and I don't know. It just feels way different from what we play.
Do you die quicker in this version, or is it like same?
It's the same thing.
No, you die quicker, man. As soon as your armor is blown out, you're like one bullet away from death.
I don't think so, because the only thing, this is realism. It's not hardcore, because hardcore is the minimal like health on you. So I think it's just normal. Everything's normal.
Except realism is usually somewhere between hardcore and regular in terms of like how quickly the damage is done. In like the normal game, I don't know about how it scales to the battle royale.
I could have sworn there was just a realism core where it's just the same health as regular like core games, except you just don't have the HUDs. And then there's also realism hardcore. I don't know. I could be wrong though, but it felt the same to me when I kill people.
When I was doing the research for last week, when we were talking about what was coming up in season 4. It said that headshots in the regular battle or realism mode were like 1.25 of what they were in.
Oh.
Yeah, so you do die a little bit quicker, hypothetically.
Because people were getting headshots on us? I don't know.
For sure. I was going down quick and with the realism mode, so I was getting headshotted all the time.
Maybe we should just start sniping. We should have done that.
Just do it.
People.
do it. It's fun.
Yeah, it was interesting for me. I definitely agree with everybody here of like, it changed the game drastically for all of us, right? It went from we were running around laughing to, okay, everybody slow down, don't even talk, let's try to get in a room and just hang out for a couple of minutes here. And I think that changed the pace for us where it wasn't as much fun. It was definitely very different, right? You kind of take for granted the mini map, the ability to see your whole team's health, how much cash everybody has, all of the bounties, all the vehicles on the map. You take that all away and it becomes a totally different experience, which, of course, on Activision's side, that's what they're going for, right? The realism idea to take all that away from you. So I think we had some fun with it, but it wasn't as much fun as I thought it would be. It did feel like people were two-shot headshotting me and I was dead immediately, like Washburn said. Without it, it felt like the aim was a little bit different. Kevin brought that up a couple times of like when we were shooting, it felt different. Maybe that because there was no crosshairs, maybe because there was no indicators on hit markers, but it just felt different. And there was some fun moments there for sure. I think we got like third place on one game. We almost won it all. But this has been a long weekend to change from how much fun we've been having to now, hey, if you want to play quads, you have to play realism mode. And it was like, oh, like we even had nights where it's like, Washburn was like, hey, I'll bounce out and you guys can just do trios. Or like Boney was like, hey, I'm out of here. You can just go do trios. Like that wasn't as fun. And I think it separated the squad. It actually gave me flashbacks of when Apex first hit the scene. And it was like, hey, do you like playing with 4 people? Well, guess what? You're not going to do that anymore. Kick your buddy out. And it was like, oh man, like that's not what I wanted. So for me, realism mode, I didn't dig it. I thought there was some cool ideas there, but in all retrospect, I'd rather just have the regular mode. Like Washburn said, like this is my favorite battle royale to date. It runs well. It plays well. It's exactly what I want. I didn't like the change that we saw this weekend.
I just don't understand the need to mess with the stock solos, duos, trios, and quads, by adding the other game modes. Like if you're going to take one away, take away plunder or blood money or one of those game modes that nobody plays and add add realism in the place of one of those rather than mess with the traditional 4 modes that are always available or should always be available.
Yeah, they should do it like Destiny 2 PvP. They have the core game modes and then two game modes they rotate each week. They should just do that when they have a new mode to rotate in. Keep all the core stuff and then just rotate out.
Yeah, I would say if they're gonna change, like I'm all for trying experimental like game types and mixing it up, just so that people have a change of pace and maybe find out what they like a little bit more. And my thing is like if you're gonna switch out any of the core ones, I would switch out trios and not quads or duos, because those are the ones that people I feel like probably play the most.
Yeah, I can agree with all that. And I definitely echo the sentiment that you guys feel. It's like, why don't we keep the core and then just add on a separate one? I think on the flip side, of course, there is an answer, right? Activision does this for a reason, but like maybe it's just because quads is the most popular. That's how they can really get the most like, hey, here's the feedback that we got for you. This is what we all think. But of course, this has been a long weekend without it. It kind of sucks, you know what I mean? But it will come back soon enough and we'll go back to our normal gameplay and we can look back on realism mode and know that it probably just wasn't for us.
I think
I did like sneaking around, like when we all crouched down and just like sneak through the alleys and stuff. I thought that it looked so badass, but not much came from it though.
Yeah, there was definitely cool moments of like everybody shut up, everybody follow, like stand next to each other. We're like right next to each other, look in different areas. Like that was pretty wild, but poof. That was fun. It was a good time.
I think it'd be better if it did realism, but with the nighttime mode on the map. I think that would have been more intense.
I don't think I'm ready for nighttime mode, Kevin. I mean, I already have tough enough time seeing some kid out in the bushes. I'm not ready for it to be nighttime, bro.
I'm ready to crawl around, just giving the hands gestures, with the emotes things, hold and rally up thing. You know what I'm talking about, man.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that. I want to see how that works.
No voice comms allowed. It's all just the hand motions.
Oh, that would be cool.
That would be dope.
cool.
That's what I was telling. I told Mike about that. We should do that. Where it's just all the hand gestures. See if we can just like win a match by doing that.
I feel like you'd have to do that during realism though, because if you did it during a regular, you just get run over.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I mean, we got a day left, and they keep it for today.
They'll probably keep it for tomorrow. They'll probably update on Tuesday or Wednesday would be my guess, but we'll see, I guess.
So we still have time.
All right. Do we have any other thoughts on the realism mode, or shall we move on to the next? All right.
We're good.
Washburn, as well as everyone else, has been playing a little game called The Last of Us Part 2.
Yep,
Small
just a little
And
game.
An indie game.
Can we get some spoiler-free impressions, please?
I'm about 5 hours in. I've completed the opening, and again, no spoilers. And I've run around in the next section, and the game sort of opens up for you, and all I've done is run around and collect some stuff and get a handful of extra cutscenes that were off the beaten path. For me, if you played the first game, you know exactly how the second game's going to play in terms of gameplay mechanics. The gameplay mechanics are the exact same. You're running around. I mean, okay, they've added a dodge, and that's about it. But other than that, you're running around. You're collecting your glue and your scissors and your alcohol and your rags. You're crafting Molotovs and throwing bricks to distract clickers. I think for me, the biggest improvement over the original is how horrifying the infected are in the sequel. And that's something I've been going on about because the sound design is just next level, especially on the clickers and the runners. And that's all I've seen so far. And I know that there are other types of infected that I haven't seen. And I'm really excited to see how scary some of those can get. But just going into these rooms where you've got like 2 clickers and 3 runners and the sound and the way it bounces off the walls and the way the clickers, use the echolocation to try and track you down. It's really, really scary. And I wasn't expecting to be as scared as I have been playing this game. And it's going to be hard for me to beat. The game is at its best, in my opinion, when I can put the controller down and watch one of these incredible cutscenes. And they are incredible, whether you love what they've done or are going to do with the story, or you hate it. There's no denying just how impeccable these cutscenes are, just in their direction, the framing, the composition, just the technical achievement that these cutscenes are putting on display it's sort of ridiculous. So that's sort of my takeaway so far about 5 hours in.
I'm liking it so far too. I've been playing it. Going into it, I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready. I'm ready to do this. I've been waiting for this for a long time since they announced it like 4 years ago, I think, back in PSX. But playing like I've only gone up to like maybe 3-4 hours. I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm ready for this. It's so much has been happening, and goddamn, the worst thing about that game, I'm just gonna say it, it's the goddamn jump scares all the time that just pops up out of nowhere, and I just hate it. My heart is just racing like crazy for like little areas that you don't need to go in. But man, yeah, I'm liking it so far. Yeah, it's going good. I can't wait to finish it. See where this goes.
I do not remember this many jump scares in the first one because I've been jumping a lot. I've been jumping a lot in this game. I love the title screen. It has, when you fire up the game, there's just a boat on water with some ambient noise, maybe a little music. It looks so good. The graphic fidelity in this game is incredible. I cannot wait to see what they do next for next gen. It's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, so for me to round it out, just a preference to everybody, I am playing on super baby easy mode because my goal here is just to enjoy the story and have some fun here. I'm not here to sit there for an extra 20 hours on super hard mode or anything like that. But I will tell you this, when I play video games, as a lot of you know, I play a lot of multiplayer games. We play a lot of basic shooters and battle royales, and there's some emotions that come from it, but there is not the same when I start playing The Last of Us, right? The feels that I get, whether it be, just in the first opening, right? Like Washburn said, that's 2 to 3 hours. I went from so many different emotions to goosebumps, happy to be back, joyful, smiles, laughing, scared, terrified, sad, felt like I needed to run through a wall to get ready for war. There was so many emotions throughout that first 2 hours. And I have to say, I'm really pumped up. I think Washburn hit the nail on the head of like the cutscenes are what I'm here for. These small moments that aren't even in cutscenes, but like we just kind of take a moment and like look at the surroundings, have a nice little conversations, are truly incredible. And being a mountain guy, I know Maddox is a mountain guy as well. What they did with Jackson and the snow and the whole mountain vibe, killer. It is so awesome to like feel the mountain town, to look off in the distance, and on the side of the hill you can see, you know, the 7 houses, one with lights on, and it's like, oh, we're going over there. Oh, we're traversing all this snow. Was the coolest experience to jump off the beginning.
Even when like you brush against a tree and the snow falls off the branches onto the ground, that's really cool. I love stuff like that. I love little details like that. Are you playing with headphones on, Mike?
I am playing with headphones on the 4K TV.
Way to go.
I turned off all the lights in the house, and I will tell you, like Bone Jangle said, from the ambient sound of the title screen, I had chills. I was scared. I was looking through the doorway to make sure nobody was here, and it only ramped up even more as you started to progress through the first 3 hours. I had moments where I was like, should I turn the light on? Like, should I go turn the hallway light on? I'm a little worried right now, but it's totally worth it to go fully immersed into this.
There's a sequence in the beginning of the game where you are running from one infected after another, and they keep it's in Jackson, and they keep jumping at, out of the bushes, and you are like, you can't fight them. And the sequence ends with you stuck between a fence and a wall, and the infected are sort of hoarding up on this fence, and the way that their hands are reaching through the fence and the noise, Naughty Dog is just able to sell this tension in a way I've never seen before in a video game, to the point where I'm physically just like tightening up, you know what I mean? And that's rare. And whether or not you like the writing, and I know, if you go on Twitter or look at user reviews or whatever, people are going to say their piece, but there's no denying just the sheer level of competence on display from pretty much everyone involved, especially I think Neil Druckmann, to get these performances and to be able to sell that level of tension is just something so rare in a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a different feel for me of like, I like The Last of Us for those more intimate, very smaller sequences of like, there's only a couple of clickers or infected. That was a different feel for me. That was kind of a newer feel. It reminded me of Days Gone with how many were there. Of course, it wasn't the Days Gone horde mode, but like, it was like, hey, there's a lot here, but I think they spun it to the point where I was like, this is cool, right? This is a special moment, as opposed to what I've really come to know The Last of Us for is like, here's maybe 5 to 6 and you're, one by one. This had a different feel, and I think they did a good job with it for sure.
I pulled a Kevin Coel and I set up my LEDs behind my TV to react to sound. So it reacts to bass. So as soon as I get hit with like a heavy hit, my lights flash red, and it just adds just a little bit more to the immersive. When you're getting taken damage, it's really cool, really cool.
Yeah, I'm going full out. I'm just playing in the dark. That's all I'm doing.
I'm playing in the daytime in the safe hours, dude. Like that's how I'm playing this game. I don't do scary well, and this game is very scary. So it's sort of, again, it's just a testament to how crazy these cutscenes are, that to make me want to keep going and pushing through, despite the fact that I would never, I don't play Resident Evil games. I would never play a game like this if I wasn't as engaged as I am with these characters and as dazzled as I am by these performances.
Game 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
So far, I wouldn't give it a 10 just based on the fact that the gameplay is the exact same. Like, nothing's evolved on the gameplay front. I would give it a 9, and I would give the cutscenes a 10. That's just kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm hoping there's some puzzles. If there's really good puzzles, like when you get to Seattle, there's a pretty cool like cable puzzle where you're messing with cables. If there's more stuff like that, I think I'll like it a lot. It's pretty neat.
Well, then we'll move on to our big topic. It's a game called Ring of Elysium. It's a battle royale, and we have a lot of feelings about it.
Shift. This is such a shift.
But we are going to start with the positives. what positives we have about this game, but just as like an overall view, it's a battle royale, just very similar to all the others. There's just a few slight changes. You choose a spot to spawn on the map. You can tell where everyone else is spawning as you spawn in. The circle is more of like a section of the map that just gets blacked out with ash, and the longer you stay in there, the more radiation you build up, I believe, and then it will eventually kill you. And then 4 people can escape on a helicopter at the end, and it doesn't have to be people from the same team. And those are like the big main picture things. Anyone want to talk about our experience with Ring of Elysium?
Positive
Starting
first,
with
right?
positive.
I got.
I'll
yeah.
touch on
Oh.
some positives
Hold
first
on.
before Kevin destroys the
No,
game.
I
here
got
in
one
a
positive
second.
before you begin.
All right, give me
I've
the.
got 2 positives.
It's free.
Yeah, I got. Okay.
It's fine.
Okay,
You can go on
yeah.
now.
Dang it,
Free
Kevin,
to
you
play
took
battle
mine.
royale. So a couple of the positives for me, I think, is the heavy focus on traversal. Right. I think the really cool part that we're all going to touch on here is like this game is different from most battle royales. And yeah, sure, there's cars, there's helicopters, there's modes of transportations in other battle royales, but this one has a cool focus on like, hey, one of your, we'll call it just traits, right, that you can equip on is a hang glider, is a snowboard back in the day, is a motorcycle, and grappling hooks as well come to mind. And I think that's really cool of like to change up and be different in this battle royale genre that we're going to really touch on every single week is what small things do you do? What do you bring to the table that can make you unique? And for me personally, my positive that I want to start off with is the traversal idea of like, hey, here's a cool move that you can do. And what we've seen from YouTube videos and our gameplay is there's a hang glider, there's a snowboard, there's a motorcycle. Yeah, there's cars, there's grappling hooks. I even saw one where they had the Lara Croft ice climbing ice picks and you could climb up the side of mountains. Sure, that sounds really dumb in the grand retrospect of things, but to add that is kind of cool. There's also zip lines. I want to bring up traversal for sure.
I think we can all agree that the traversal is some of the most interesting out of any game. I mean, they have the cars, they have the boats, they have like a underwater thing that will drag you way faster than swimming. And the BMX bike, the glider, and the grappling hook are the ones that are active in the game right now. Oh, and I guess the motorcycle on that one map. And you never lose them. Some of them have recharges, but you can just ride the BMX bike. It kind of like makes it so that the storm's not as scary because you have a way to traverse across the map like way quicker than in most battle royales, I would say.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun on the glider, just like getting up to a high point on the map and then hitting that button and shooting straight up in the air and sort of flying as far as I could go. I thought that was a pretty fun thing to do. And for me, another two positives are the performance. The game runs super smooth.
Looks good.
And the visually, I think it's pretty good, you know. So those are 2 good things to take away from it.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up the visual fidelity of it. Looks really good. I was quite surprised, honestly. As soon as I fired it up, though, I was like, "Oh no, how can this be better looking to me than PUBG is right now?"
I know, right?
Given I haven't played
wild?
PUBG, I haven't played PUBG on my new computer that I have, so I'm not quite sure how it compares to like high settings on PUBG. But like right away, I noticed how smooth it was.
Yeah, there wasn't like, I guess part of the thing is like you're not dropping in, so there's not the texture pop in that you always see in PUBG, and that's probably what kind of separates it out, I would say.
Yeah, another positive I want to bring up is it is free to play, like Kevin said, but the character customization, like they have really cool, unique skins, and I know we're gonna tease somebody here on the pod in just a moment. But I do want to say, like, you know, we kind of touch on it, like Call of Duty is more based in like I wouldn't say quote unquote reality, right? And the skins aren't too like far fetched, like Fortnite, where Tagata was a banana, Kevin was, you know, I don't know, Deadpool.
Wizard.
No, that was Washburn. I was a pug, you know. In this one, it was like, here's some crazy outfits, right? Somebody was a samurai. I was some badass motorcycle chick. Washburn was generic soldier number 1.
Soccer.
And I thought they had some really cool, like, oh, here's some cool skins you can run around. And sure enough, like, you're not really going to see the skin when you play, but like, I thought that was cool that they added that in.
You do see the skin when you're playing.
Yeah, because it's third person.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you're not going to actually stare at the detail of the front of it and stuff in the middle of a battle royale.
I mean, dude. I was like, the samurai guy was cool, dude. I'm not generic
Maddox.
soldier number 3 over here.
Maddox got like his guy had a TV head. And
Yep,
like the screen of the
And a
TV
shirt
was
that
like
said,
this face.
Stay mad.
And y'all had these like cool like robotic legs. And then I opened my free pack and I'm just straight out of Call of Duty. Just worse. I would say worse than my character.
Yeah.
Was in
Yeah, it
Call
was
of
definitely
Duty.
worse. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You should see
You
what
gotta
Tagato
push
got,
on that.
dude. You should see what Tagato got. He doesn't even play the game, and he got something cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, mine was like it was like a green suit of armor, kind of looked like an old Egyptian, like
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
That was cool.
set of armor. It looked pretty
Yep.
cool.
So yeah, I like that. Then I also want to bring up one thing I did like as well is I actually liked Inside the Storm. Like Maddox said, it is a different storm. It's not a circle that pushes you in, that kind of black out a zone. But if you really look at the inside the zone itself, it's not like just gas, and it's not, just kind of like purple around you. It's like a cool like twister tornado, lightning all around you kind of storm. And I think they do a really cool job at like making that feel unique as opposed to what we're used to with PUBG, Apex, Fortnite, and Call of Duty. It's like that storm looks dynamic. It looks different. It looks cool when you're inside of it trying to get out of it.
I feel like for a change, there's no like, oh, I'm inside the storm, you're outside the storm. One person's at an advantage or disadvantage, or like with Call of Duty, sometimes the gas just takes up a lot of visual fidelity depending on where you are in relation to the other person if they are in the gas. And I think that kind of takes away that advantage that people get from being inside or out of, and you can just like fight it out and have a battle and it just be like on par.
Yeah. And I like the choosing of the map. I thought that was totally different. Like when we bring up like what makes you unique, what makes you different, like that was really cool of like, hey, here's the map. Just select a spot on the grid, and that's where you're going to respawn instead of here's the plane. Everybody jump off, try to land somewhere. That was pretty different of like pick a spot, where other people are picking. So like you can go completely cold and just pick some random spot, or you can click right on top of somebody else's tile and be like, we're going to battle this out right now in this zone. Good luck. I thought that was pretty cool and unique.
For sure. So now we get to move to the less fortunate parts of the game.
Hold on, did we talk about the traversal, like other things you could do? Because I know you mentioned the glider, but I like the grapple hook. I don't know if you guys ever tried that one.
Oh yeah.
Because if you can use that one, you can hit the ceiling of a house and you just upside down. And you can kind of like stay hidden from people who come into the house, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
And then I never tried the BMX bike. I don't know how that was.
I've tried it.
How was that?
It's good. You can bunny hop it over a lot of stuff, and you can cover a lot of distance. You can probably cover the most distance the quickest with the BMX bike, I would say. The glider is a little bit slower, and you only have a limit, and the BMX, you can just be on it for as long as you want.
Yeah, I do want to bring up on the glider, if you have an SMG or pistol, you can shoot while on the glider, so that's pretty dope of like one-handed.
cool.
You're like, blah, 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 blah.
SMG
And then on the
Yeah.
flip side, back in the day, they had the snowboard, not when we played it, but the snowboard, you could actually do like, you could huck giant jumps and you could do 720s and 900s. It was just, if you landed incorrectly, you would die immediately. But it was cool to see like some YouTube videos of like kids just smashing this giant jump and then whipping a 900 landing and going right back into the battle royale. That's cool and unique. I like that.
I
a lot.
really wish we could have experienced the snowboarding and fighting thing at the same time. That would have been cool. Because that's like so different from anything, really. I mean, I guess there was like hoverboard snowboards in Fortnite, but Fortnite's
Not
a
like
different
that, it's
story.
right.
Not the
Yeah,
same.
totally.
Yeah.
Not the same. And what else did they have? They had like the motorcycle only for that training mode
Yeah.
though, for that map.
It was that other map, but that we can get into the bad stuff in a second. But when we tried to queue into that map, it did not work.
And I don't know what else was it. That was it, right? That's all the traversal things you were able to use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
So I guess now we can go into the bad things.
The bad. The bad is that the population on the game when we were playing it was 800 people.
Awful.
and that seems high for how many people were actually in our games.
What was wrong? I don't know. I don't know what they
I
were
think-
playing. Did they just boot up the game and not
Yeah.
go into a game?
I think they were probably
My
running
guess is that
privates.
Oh,
I was thinking more like they still kept it separated by server region. And that was kind of like, oh, maybe there's like 50 people playing in Europe, but they're not going to put them in our game because the ping would be too high.
should we have gone to Asia? Because I felt like maybe that's the biggest one.
Maybe, I don't know. But there was, I think you can load into the game with like 80 to 100 players. And in all the games we loaded into, there was 40 players. And the queue times were 5 to 10 minutes.
Yep.
And the estimated queue time on the map that we actually got into was 2 minutes. And then if you tried to queue into anything else, it was 10 plus minutes as an estimate. So that's kind of a bummer.
But even the
They
estimate
also-
for the 2 minutes wasn't even 2 minutes. It would usually go
Oh yeah,
longer
it was
than that.
5 or 10. Yeah.
So that was tough.
The other problem was that they have it separated into first person and third person. So it seems like they're kind of dividing out their player base a little bit too much, maybe.
Right.
They had it's solos, trios on one, and then solos, quads on the other map. And I think between those 4 things, and then there also being first and third person in each of those things, it may have just divided out the 800 people to a point where the most you could get in any game was like 40.
Yeah, I mean that puts a damper on it of waiting so long. That was probably the hardest part for all of us when we played that. Of like, all right, let's jump into this game, let's have some fun. And then it was like, here's a 5-minute queue time to 10 minutes. We would drop. We wouldn't see anybody for probably another 5 minutes because there was only 30 people on this giant map. And then all of a sudden I got shot in the back and it was like, dang it, now I have to queue up for another 10 minutes. Like that sucked.
Yeah, spent a lot more time in waiting lines than actually playing the game.
I would say that also because we spent so much time either waiting and the games were so small, we couldn't even get a good feel for the overall gameplay besides like the traversal mechanics, because we got into one semi-big battle, I would say, where we weren't just clapped right away, and it was just like, I can't tell what's going on. I'm not used to the inputs for where I'm getting shot from. It was kind of tough in that scenario as well.
I think for me, this is just another battle royale in a list that's too big. You know what I mean? You think back to a couple months ago, we played this game called Darwin Project that we had a lot of fun with, and that game came to be discontinued, and I think the servers were taken offline, or they stopped updating it, one or the other.
They stopped updating it, right? That was it.
Yeah, I think you can still play.
Yeah, and this game, I think the only reason it's still alive is because it's owned by Tencent, who has a $1 billion and can just continue to dump money into it. And they released the new season like yesterday or the day before.
How was that, Matt? New season.
So I went to load into the season, and all of the estimated queue times were 10 plus minutes, and I was like, I'm not doing this. And from what I read, it seemed like they were doing updates to how the gunplay felt, and I was like, well, we barely shot our guns, so
it'll be
not gonna
interesting.
feel any different.
For me, it'll be interesting of like Washburn says, like at the end of this, right, we're going to start to make a list of all of the favorite games that we've played in this battle royale genre. And yes, it's going to be quite extensive and it's going to be big, but it'll be interesting of like the uniqueness and the things that they add, right? We talked on how good the game looked. We touched on the cool traversal and how different that was. Yes, there are some downfalls of it, but like, where will this net out, right? How far to the bottom will it go? Could it be in the mid tier of all of this? We kind of know the top tier after a couple of weeks what we'll say, but it'll be interesting to me. I get a smile when Washburn says that, of like, where will this truly net out? Will it be the bottom of the bottom? Will it be somewhere nestled in the middle? Because I think it does bring a couple of cool things to it, but on the flip side, yes, we have some complaints for sure, you know.
If I had controller support, I'd probably try playing it single player more, try jumping in some single player just so I could get more used to it. But I don't want to have to learn. I don't want to have to play by myself and learn keyboard at the same time.
How different would we feel if we were queuing up and getting into matches like as fast as we would in a game of Warzone. You know what I mean? How much would that alleviate some of these issues that we're having with the game?
I feel like it might have
I
been
think it
worse,
would
right?
alleviate a lot of them.
I think it would alleviate a lot. I think it would push it up more, right?
would
We still
push
have a
it
lot
up
of
in a
Battle Royale
major
games to
way.
play, but
Yeah.
I think it would get it up higher for sure. I
Yeah,
want to
But
touch.
my one thing is like it would bump it up, but we don't know how much it would bump it up because we couldn't get enough actual gameplay against other actual players to like find out
Exactly.
how it actually felt. Like the looting mechanics and all that feel very PUBG like, but like a little bit more efficient. The guns felt good when I fired them, but like I wasn't firing them at people that often. Is the real problem there.
I just think this boils down to a population issue. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
and
that's
how
its
many
biggest
people
issue.
are in the game and how long it takes to get, in a game where I think this game actually does max out at 60. I was just reading, and
Okay.
we're lucky to get in a match with like 32 people, on a server at the same time. So I think if the game was more populated, we'd be a lot more hot on it. But just like I was saying, and like Mike was saying, this list is just too big. There's too many Battle Royale games on this list, and we've got the big three, and those big three came into the market with a big IP behind them or a big publisher like Respawn. And it's just going to be so hard for a new Battle Royale to pop into this space until something like Halo drops a Battle Royale, and it's this huge IP, this monster, that people know and are prepared to jump in and play.
Like that. Tutorial, Maddox, do you want to bring that up really close? Since like we're kind of closing out on this, that tutorial was kind of, I don't know, that kind of slowed everything down for us.
Yeah, you can't die in the tutorial, and you kind of have to play the whole thing out, and the whole game takes like, I don't know, 30 minutes to play against a bunch of bots that just run up to you and wait for you to shoot them in the face.
Yeah, it felt good getting 20 kills though. 20 plus kills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like 40,
the highest
dude.
kills we've ever had is right.
it's
That
a lot
stuff
of
was
fun.
dope.
And I was like, man,
gonna
is
ask-
this how the game's gonna play out? I'm gonna dominate in this game.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
wait.
I was gonna ask you guys, do you remember when this game came out, people were complaining that it might be a cryptocurrency miner. It was installing malware.
That's fun.
Shoot, why do we download it then?
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, I remember that being a big thing. Nobody really proved it or anything, but a lot of people were thinking it was installing malware to help farm Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or whatever.
It's like the Cookie Mama on the Switch, dude. And that's what people were.
Oh yeah, that was so funny.
Yeah.
I'm sure Steam would have taken that down if
That was the
that
case.
were
Yeah.
to be the case. Yeah.
So 10 out of 10, right?
Any final thoughts on? I guess what out of this game, like, is it just the traversal that you would like want to see in another battle royale?
I
Would be
love
my
the way
question.
that the zones work. I
Oh,
think
yeah. Yeah,
like
that's a good point.
and
Really?
and Mike brought this up, and I totally forgot to mention this too, is the way that it's not a circle. You don't have a circle. You get to pick where you drop. There's all these zones that are not symmetrical in any way, and then a random zone gets blacked out, forcing you onto another part of the map. I think that's super cool. And I think if this game was populated, we'd have a totally different tone on it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I'm excited to see our conversation evolve over the next couple of weeks, and we'll start to bring out our list of like, hey, here's the, after week 5 now, here's the 5 games that we've played, and we're going to start putting them in a list. And I'm excited to see after week 5, after week 10, after week 20, all the battle royales that we play on this podcast, where this will be. Because for me, yeah, I do like that traversal. I do like the different kind of ring and closing situation. I liked the graphical look of it and how different that was and how nice it was. So I'm excited to see if this will be towards the top. Yeah, of course, Washburn said we got the big 3, and we'll have that discussion when we get there. But like, is this towards the top? Is it more in the middle? Is this towards the bottom? Because there is a lot of battle royales here. And like Washburn said as well, again, is we only got sullied because the population was so low there.
Yeah, 100%.
I want more people.
So, is there anything else anyone wants to discuss about that video game?
Not at all.
All right.
It's a drop.
Kevin.
It's a drop cold.
Drop cold.
Are we doing that? Are we doing that? I don't know. We're doing that. Drop hot, drop cold, and
Drop
what's the
hot,
other one?
drop cold.
Don't drop at all.
It's got to be a mild in the middle.
Yeah,
It would
yeah,
be
let
interesting.
Let it warm up for a while, and maybe we'll come back to it.
It would be interesting to see if there's a way we could run a server and get 50 people in,
Private game?
off
50's a lot
a
of people,
stream
yeah.
and run a private game and
Yeah.
run some privates and then see if we feel differently on it. But for now, it's just one of those. It's just another battle royale.
We're
It's gonna
dropping
go by the
cold.
wayside.
Yeah,
Yep.
50's a lot of people. It's not like it's a pretty. I don't know. It's not a beefy game to run, but I mean, it's no Super Animal Royale where people were able
No.
to download it quickly and.
That's
God, that
Oh,
game's
that's
that's gonna be
close
up
to
towards
top.
the top. That's coming to the top,
So-
baby.
So if we
Number
wanted to do a
one.
private server, man, it would be tough to get 50 people. I don't know, maybe even 20 people at most. So I guess
Yeah.
we can all just jump into one random lobby, but I don't know.
Evan, I have one important question for you.
What's up? Tell me.
What game are we going to be playing next week, and how excited are you?
Let me tell you, dude. Next week we're going back, dude. We're going back to Fortnite. Woo! No, Apex Legends. I
Thank
got you
God,
guys.
Oh man,
We're going back to one of the big three. We're going to go check out Apex Legends. We've talked about Call of Duty. We should probably give Call of Duty maybe a better episode of like deep diving into that, but we are going to go into one of the big three that we consider it. And I'm pretty excited to jump back into Apex. Unfortunately, one of the squad members will get the boots while we sit there and watch the other three play, which is my only downfall of this game.
Hey, we got 6 people.
I
Tegato's
know,
not here
we're-
today, but
we're gonna
we
be
can
rolling
run
it.
3 separately. Try and queue
Plus-
into the same game.
yeah.
See who gets
Plus,
the most kills and who gets the most wins.
I actually like playing Apex like with random squads a lot.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
All right then.
I-
Whoa,
I
with
okay.
those.
That will be a
Jeez.
discussion point.
All
Okay.
right.
So when you guys are playing some night and I get off late at work, I'll probably just queue up with a random trio.
All right.
He doesn't want to play
Cool.
with us. All right, we get it. It's all right. I never like to, anyways.
Squad out.
He just gets it right there.
We're ending
A
it there.
little early there, Bone Jangles. Let him do the outro, and then you can do that part.
All
can't wait.
right,
Can't wait for that.
everyone. That has been your episode of the Squad Pod for the week. You can find Bone Jangles at twitch.tv/Mr. Bone Jangles or just Bone Jangles.
Just Bone Jangles with a Z, baby.
Bone Jangles with the Z. You can find him on Twitter at Mr. Bone Jangles.
There you go.
You
Yeah.
can find Washburn at twitch.tv/Washburn. 3 sets of numbers that I don't know. 135. You can find Kevin Ace X at twitch.tv/Kevin Ace X. And you can find Snowbike Mike killing the game over on twitch.tv/Snowbike Mike. Until next time.
Comms out.